All right, thank you, Chancellor Elrod. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker for this evening, Paul Condry. Paul is a man who has dedicated his career to shining a light on student athletes and positively impacting our sports community. Paul Condry is the founder of Regional Radio Sports Network, a company committed to promoting high school and small college athletics throughout northern Indiana. Through their audio and video streaming coverage, Paul and his team have ensured that the stories of countless athletes are heard and celebrated. Paul's work has been instrumental in supporting the growth of local sports, giving athletes, coaches, and programs the recognition they deserve. His passion for education-based athletics and commitment to excellence make him an inspiring figure for all of us. On a more personal note, Paul and his better half, Tanya, who's here tonight as well, are also my neighbors, and I've seen firsthand how their dedication to the community goes far beyond the airwaves. It's an honor to have him here tonight as we celebrate the achievements of IU South Bend's finest. Please join me in welcoming Paul Condry to the stage.
Thanks, Coop. Welcome to the inaugural IUSB Athletics Hall of Fame. I'm Paul Condry, Regional Radio Sports, Indiana Football Digest, and the Indianapolis Colts. Privileged to be here with our distinguished guests, Chancellor Elrod, great to see you again, and of course the Hall of Fame inductees. Thanks to Coop for inviting me to speak today. Anytime I get a chance to talk about the people who changed and saved my life, I am all in. It sure beats being at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony in Cleveland today, too. So thanks very much. Hey, how about Bobby Barnes and that soccer team today, huh? Where are you at, Coach? Back to back, baby. All right. I was telling Tanya earlier today that I see all the athletes here, and especially for the young female athletes here, I'm not used to without your hair back or your jersey on, so I don't know everybody without their jersey numbers. So it's kind of a unique situation I find myself in here today. One of the things I was talking with Coach Bruce earlier today, I wanted to share a little bit about culture. I want to share a little bit about story about coaches. If you were to give me an opportunity to be around one group of people, it would be about coaches. I've had coaches that have changed my life, what they've done throughout the course of my life. They have just literally put me in a position to be successful. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. I got a short time set, so I've kind of reduced this. Long before I put a headset on and decided to follow my lifelong dream into sportscasting and sports writing, I was a coach. It was and still remains one of the most important time frames in my life. I grew up in Holborn, Indiana. Anybody know where that's at? All right, 40 miles just east of Chicago, about 75 miles from here. Go Bricks, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I tell you what, I was blessed growing up in a blue-collar community, steeped in great athletic tradition. I did my very best to keep that athletic tradition alive in the early 1970s as a student athlete. However, I failed miserably at doing that. So with that being said, despite of my athletic prowess, I did my best to help out when I could. After I got cut from the basketball team, my head basketball coach, Jim Lichtenberger, asked me to stick around. I thought, well, what is this all about? What do you need me here for? So he says, Paul, I want you to come in. I want you to be an extra body at practice. We're going to add you to a staff as a student coach. I'm going to put you in as the first ever director of basketball operations. So we're going to create a new role just for you because we saw something in you. My coaches, Tom Workman, Mo Rohde, Jim Lifke, involved me in everything from scouting to equipment to taping ankles. I was taping ankles before there was such thing as a certified athletic trainer. That'll tell you how far that goes back. When we were down a guy or an injury or an illness, I got to practice with my friends and my teammates. That was awesome. I had the best of both worlds. Coaches meetings, playing ball with my buddies. At our senior banquet, I was recognized by my coaches as our program's most valuable player. My coaches loved me, and I loved them, and they changed my life. Fast forward 5 years later, Coach Workman had just became the head basketball coach, so he hired me to be his 7th grade basketball coach. And I had my own team. In a half a dozen years, we won 3 conference championships, and my student athletes, once they got to be seniors, won 3 of Hobart's 4 state football championships. Something very proud of my boys. Everybody there talked about culture. And I've seen this culture, and I'm going to pick on 2 people here right now because I've known them the longest. But Coach Bruce and Coach Cooper have created an amazing culture for their athletes to succeed. It is amazing. Now, I get a chance to go all over the country. I work in the NFL opportunities with my work with the Colts the last 27 years, and these are 2 of the greatest people I've ever been around. You should be fortunate that you have them as your coaches and as mentors. So let's give them a nice round of applause. My favorite people in the world are coaches, as I mentioned before. I would rather be in a group of coaches than any place else in the world. And in this room, there's some good ones. I'm sure that Jerry Jones, Coach Wisniewski, Coop, Steve Bruce, I think everybody here would tell you that a coach has affected their lives at some point in time in a positive manner. Even my buddy Mark Lukashevsky, who's here from Minnesota. Because of social media, I still keep in contact with my student athletes. And you got to keep in mind now that I'm 68, so they're in their 40s and in their 50s, and I even have some of my athletes now have grandchildren. I recently, I wanted to share something personal with you because I recently got I was back and forth with a text message from one of my players, Rick Knight. He's in Tampa. And of course, I was checking in on him last week during the hurricane, and I'm just going to read it to you verbatim. So Rick, who lives just north of Tampa, sent me a text. I was checking on him during the hurricane, and he says, quote, "Coach, thanks for checking in on us. Most of all, thanks for praying for our safety. Words can't describe my gratefulness, and all I can give you is a massive thank you and tons of love back. You helped me when I was young, and you're still helping. You are always going to be a special place in my heart. I love you, Coach." All of our coaches have received those. That's the best part. Today, I coach coaches. I coach sportscasters, sports writers, and sports information directors from my chair at Regional Radio Sports. In my office, Coop's been there, there's a wall with all kinds of plaques, Hall of Fame awards, Lifetime Achievement Awards. I'm grateful for being recognized. 5 Halls of Fame. That's really cool. But what I get more personal satisfaction is that my young proteges of what they are doing. Donnie Smith, who's an IUSB grad, was recently named the last 3 years as the NAIA Sports Information Director of the Year. He just recently accepted a job as the Sports Information Director and works with Rich Rodriguez at Jacksonville State. Dalton Schettler, one of my guys, is now the voice of the Michigan State Spartans. Allie Prigge is the Sports Information Director at Notre Dame. Dante Stanton is the news anchor at ABC. Josh Miller engineered the national championship game and the Super Bowl. Mark Gall worked for the NHL and in the Dallas Stars. And I can go on and on. I'm not blowing a whistle anymore, but I'm still making an impact. That's because I created a culture in my group, just like Coach Bruce and Coach Cooper has done. 2 of my guys are doing minor league baseball and Division I sports all over the country. And I have my own team of guys led by 4-time National Sports Writers and Sportscasters Association Indiana Sportscaster of the Year, Mike Kinisevich. He's a Hall of Famer. I have 3 rising stars in my camp, J.P. Joubert, Tanner Camp, Ryan Lutz, and a great group of other guys. Every one of our inductees have been affected by a coach somewhere along the way. They would not be here today. I'm going to close with a couple quotes that I'd like for you to take to heart, especially from our athletes' perspective, and as well as our coaches' perspective. Coach each boy or girl, men and women, as if they were your own son or daughter. Eddie Robinson also said, coaching is a profession of love. You can't coach people unless you love them. It's a mighty challenge. So to our coaches here, Dougie, back there, Callie, love them up. They'll never forget it. They'll never forget you. Finally, if you don't think it's important, the legendary evangelist Billy Graham said this: a coach will impact more young people in a year than the average person does in a lifetime. Thanks very much.